So we often talk about shopping and buying local, certainly, supporting small business as a consumer. Well, the same can be true, Tim, when it comes to city and state governments, also thinking and buying local when it comes to their supply chains.
Yeah, and there are local officials working on this right now. As Nick Leiber, in his most recent piece for Bloomberg Business Week, a contributor to the magazine, joins us right now on the phone from Brooklyn, along with Demetria Kasanides, editor at Bloomberg News, joining us on the phone from New York.
So, Demetria, let's start with you. What was it about this story and aspect of small business that kind of piqued your interest?
Well, as with all of what we do, I think it was another line of support and ways to really help small businesses figure out how to tap more resources. And I liked that that the business that we highlight in the beginning of the story is really focused on working with local and regional governments. You know, when you hear about contracting and government contracts, you tend to think federal contracts, they're the big ones. They probably pay out a lot more, but there is a lot of procurement that's happening on a much more local level, which makes a lot more sense for small businesses in some ways. So it was very appealing for that reason, and it was just compelling to see how much the business had grown that that Paula Santana had started a few years ago.
So Nick Leiber, come on in here and tell us a little bit about who Paula Santana is and what she's been able to do.
Paula Santana is an entrepreneur who is very creative, very driven. She started a few business. Her first business was a drone logistics business called Matternet, and her second business, the one we're talking about right now, is a really interesting business called Social Glass, which she started back in 2017. And basically the idea is to make it easier for government workers to do their jobs. And she's really focused right now on procurement. She's saying, there are all these government agencies, community colleges, towns, cities. They're all talking, hey, we need to support small business. We should set up a grant program or set up a way to encourage shoppers to buy from the local businesses. But she's saying, what may make even more sense is if you, dear government officials, buyers, simply bought from some of these businesses. Rather than order your cleaning supplies from big business X, why not order your cleaning supplies from smaller business Y? And that's really what she's trying to do. And it's a tricky kind of marketplace to set up because you have to convince both government buyers to give you the time of day, and you have to convince busy small business owners to give you the time of day. But she's been plugging away in it, and she's starting to really get some traction.
Well, listen, and Nick, it goes back to this idea: money talks, and money makes a difference. And when you're very deliberate and thoughtful about where you're spending your money or where you're allocating your supply chain, whether it's creating more diversity in that supply chain or whether trying to help your local small businesses, this can make a difference.
Right, and cities across the country have been making more and more noises about directing more and more of their dollars to different types of business: locally owned businesses, women-owned businesses, Black-owned businesses, and this marketplace could help them because not only can you search for, say, cleaning products, but you can also say, and I'm looking for a veteran-owned business that will supply us with cleaning products and laptops. So it gives you this sort of granularity that's kind of exciting. I mean, it's as exciting as government procurement could be, but it's pretty powerful.
Well, I did learn in your story, Nick, that there is such thing as a master's degree in government procurement law. I had no idea that existed. So there are a lot of people who do find it very interesting. And this story
it's a big deal. It's hundreds of millions of dollars.
Yeah, and the story is,
governments in the U.S. are spending hundreds of millions of dollars at the state and local level on this stuff. So it's a lot of money, and it's a science, it's an art, it's all of the above.
The small businesses are there. Again, what Nick has highlighted is that they exist. The businesses exist, but sometimes it's very hard to find the business. And she's been really smart in setting something up that's going to connect the procurement officers to precisely the type of products and businesses that they need. It's not that those businesses aren't out there. They're out there, and they're ready to take these contracts on also. When you need to source stuff, sometimes it makes a lot more sense to do it locally in terms of timelines and deliveries and availability of inventory and all that kind of stuff. So it should make a meaningful difference.
That's a really good point. Dimitra, that it exists. It's just a case of often either the infrastructure isn't in place or people don't even think about it or know to kind of look more locally. One last question, Nick, in terms of governments, are they thinking more about this or making mandates to do just that, to say to, governments, you've got to buy locally?
Yeah, that's something that that's definitely been happening. It's been happening because of pressure saying, hey, you're really not buying enough from local businesses or from Black-owned businesses. Let's put something in place to try to make it happen. So there's been goal setting in Boston and Philadelphia and Virginia in different places to try to do exactly that, which in theory should help these smaller businesses.
Yeah, out of times of crisis, right? People are figuring out things to maybe improve the system, and certainly when it comes to small business and local business. Hey, guys, thank you so much. Nick Leiber, contributor at Bloomberg Business Week, on the phone from Brooklyn. Dimitra Kasanides, editor at Bloomberg News. And check out more stories from the Small Business Survival Guide. You can find that at Bloomberg.com.
It seems like a no-brainer for local politicians, right? Support the communities that you govern over.
Right. Right.
It makes total sense.
Just think about the benefits as a result of it. All right. You are listening to Bloomberg Business Week. It's Tuesday, and this is Bloomberg Radio.